Das sollte nicht so schwer sein, aber mein Hirn kann nicht verstehen, wie ich... Also ich möchte 2 Buttons haben, einen Regenbutton und einen Schneebutton. Wenn der Regenbutton schon geklickt ist, soll es regnen. Wenn ich dann auf Schnee drücke, soll der Regenbutton angeklickt sein und es wird Schnee fallen. Und ich weiß nicht, wie ich das mache.
Hi, this is me.
Also es ist so
And this is my partner, Joseph. You're probably wondering what the fuck we're trying to do here.
Ich muss den Snow-Button aussetzen, egal ob der an ist oder nicht, oder?
Last year in September, I made this app called Virtual Cottage, and it's probably the most viral thing I've made so far. And I've kind of committed myself to doing regular updates, which brings us to today. Hello! Don't worry, don't click away, it's still me. Just last time all of this was still on my head, now it's not. Kind of this reason why I wanted to make a development vlog. Yeah, by the way, that's what this is gonna be. The devlog, focusing on the recent update that released in April? March? Did I say recent? Oh god. I kind of wanted to give another glimpse into how I work on that project, so you can kind of get a better understanding of like how shit I still am at this whole development thing. Okay, let's start from the beginning. For this update, I wanted to add buttons that let the player toggle between different weather effects, so snow, rain and wind. To do that, I started out with just 2 buttons to toggle between rain and snow. As you can see, I'm creating them in an empty project as to not get overwhelmed and confused by the code chaos of the past. And then I tried to toggle and untoggle the shit out of these buttons because I have no idea how anything works anymore and why isn't this working? Wrong function? Nope, not working. Oh yeah, spelling error. Of course. And it's working! Okay. I literally turned off the camera earlier because nothing was working. I just wanted to have 3 simple buttons, one for snow, one for rain, and one for wind. When I made the winter update, I couldn't figure out how to toggle between 2 different states in terms of rain and snow. So I just set snow as the default and then put the rain on top of it or subtracted it, which kind of works, but originally I wanted the snow to be toggleable. Let's go with that. I wanted people to be able to toggle it on and off because if you're in the southern hemisphere, guess what? It's not snowing right now. Yes, I decided to film this devlog to kind of show the behind the scenes a little bit, and what just occurred is the perfect example of why a lot of like the smaller fine details are not in the game. It took me like 2 to 3 hours to just get this shit working. The good thing is today I learned about button groups. I learned that you can unpress and untoggle different buttons, and I think I could probably make this it way better and way more efficient, but I figured out a way now where I can have multiple buttons on the side and press and unpress them. And at first I was just like blinking things in and out of existence, so I thought the next problem is gonna arise once I put the tween in and then tween things, and that's gonna screw up everything. Holy shit, it didn't. It just works, and I still don't completely know how it works, but it does. Problem, it doesn't work in Virtual Cottage. I made a completely separate project where I have just the buttons to just figure this shit out without all of the other code in the way, because I am slowly losing track of my own program, which is not good. It's a mess. So every time that I open it up to add new things, it's just... And I'm sorry, it took me all morning, but we finally have rain, snow and wind that should all be toggleable. Next step is to test the sound effects. I'm also gonna test that in my dummy project, and then I'm gonna try and merge all that into the actual Virtual Cottage project. Yeah, let's hope that goes well. Then I spent the next hour relearning how to implement them in Godot, but once I had that figured out, I just connected them to the buttons. And after that worked, it was finally time to implement everything into Virtual Cottage. And after that was finally working, I made some icons to replace these weird red and green boxes. After making the icons and the storm animation, the last thing that was left to do was the fireplace that I wanted to implement with this update. And that kind of gives me some time to talk about how Virtual Cottage is set up, because my expertise is in 2D. And the whole cottage is basically just one flat isometric image. So every time I want to change something in the room, I have to modify the actual PSD file. So for the fireplace, I just drew a 2D sprite and then flattened the whole image. So this is what it looks like without any lighting. And now comes the part that will probably infuriate some of you. Every lighting scenario in Virtual Cottage is a separate 2D sprite. So I have this PSD file with the base cottage and then a lighting layer for every hour. And with every update, I adjust them manually and then save out 18 different PNGs for every hour of the day, and then overnight there's just a night PNG. And then I put that in the game. And since this was the winter update, I changed the PNGs for afternoon and evening to get darker faster. And they're still in the game like this in July, because I'm still working on the summer update. And the summer update will probably be out by autumn, and then the lighting will have changed again, and I really need to find a solution. Anyway, after I've swapped out the images, I usually check every frame just to see if I made any mistake or if the background color got screwed up. And sometimes I forget that the kitty sleeps in the bed at night, and it's just the cutest thing and I love it so much.
Good morning. Yeah, this is day 2 of the virtual cottage update, whatever I'm gonna call this. Okay, so yesterday I managed to finish the fireplace. Oh yeah, and I also implemented the snow. You can toggle on and off the snow, and we also have wind now. Yeah, I did the graphics for that yesterday evening and implemented them, and yeah, I pretty much spent all day on Virtual Cottage yesterday. I know at this point I'm probably repeating myself, but with programming, it's just unbelievable frustration over one small thing, and then you figure that thing out, and then it's just 6 hours of fun time. Well, not 6 hours of pure programming, because most of that was spent doing graphics, but I think you get what I mean. Like, so the only thing I really want to get done today, oh yeah, 2 things. So one thing, if the player presses P, I want the playtime in hours and minutes to appear, to finally track down why the achievements aren't working the way they should be. My guess is that I'm using a timer that counts down from 60 to 0, and then that is 1 minute past, and it adds that minute to the total playtime. And I'm guessing if you have a slower computer that this timer, the 60 seconds that it should be counting down, is maybe longer, so I don't know how to fix that, honestly. And the people who use Godot and Steam Achievement and timed Steam Achievements are, hi, if you're one of the devs that does these 3 things, please get in contact with me, I need help. Yeah, and then the second thing I really want to get done today is the save file. So yeah, these are kind of the things that I want to get done today, but like I mainly want to save the clock thing because I think that's gonna be easy. I don't know. Yeah, I want to pick up a hobby that's not on the computer. So I'm knitting a blanket. Alright, it's almost 4 in the afternoon and I haven't even started. I think I have to leave in like 2 hours. Let's get the save system figured out. So, quick update. The saving isn't the problem. It was literally 2 lines. The problem is the logic. Okay, you're gonna be my duck. You're gonna be my rubber duck now, which means I'm going to try to explain how the code works to you, and while I explain it, I will hopefully figure out why it doesn't work. Okay, so I have the button for AM, PM, and 24 hours. So in the beginning, when you start the file, it is always set. Maybe I just need to change the type of button that I have. The button can only be in the toggled and the untoggled state. So I was telling it your pressed state. Wait, your normal state is AM and PM. But then why does it start? Why does it start with... Wait, isn't 24 hours the standard one? Then set this value to true, and if the value is true, then it becomes if AM PM is true, then it makes it AM PM time, right? Why are people always building in this fucking house?
Why is it always a fucking construction site? It's literally 2 lines. Why is this so complicated? Okay. I'm just gonna put a bunch of print statements in here to understand what the fuck is happening. Okay, so it's loading. AM PM is false. Then I click on the button and it sets it to AM and PM. Now AM and PM is true. Okay. Let's run this bad boy. I don't think this is gonna work. Okay, so the good thing is the clock still works. So I'm now setting it to AM and PM. And I'm gonna close the game. In theory, oh god, the camera battery is running out. Let's do this before the camera dies. In theory, it should be safe now. And it should start with the button in the pressed state and with the AM and PM time format. Okay, okay, oh my god. Please work, please work, please work. Closing. Opening it. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh my god. It's working. Yes! I hope this devlog is giving you some perspective of how game development on Virtual Cottage is working and why there is no elaborate music player in this app yet. Fuck. Oh yeah, I haven't shown off the... Let me show you the wind that I made yesterday. Ooh, spooky. Yeah, it's literally just a couple of blurred pixels zapping by. It's not the most elaborate one, but I wanted something that also works in 6 frames. Let me know how you like the weather effects and that you can toggle them. I'm super happy with how they came out, but yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna charge the camera now and maybe I'll tackle another feature in the meantime, I don't know. The next day I mostly spent on audio, and if I add a new track to Virtual Cottage, first I have to level it in Audacity, and then I open Godot and I put in the song title, artist name and the music file number into 3 separate lists. The program then chooses a random number between 1 and the size of the list. And for example, if that number is 3, it looks for the 3rd entry in the artist name list, then the 3rd entry in the song name list, and then the 3rd song, and then displays them. Best solution, and I plan to change that soon, since I've recently learned about a better way to do that. But for now, that's how it's set up. I wasn't able to get the save game done. In the evening, when Gramps was online, I think I mentioned him in one of the other videos. He is the guy who did the Godot Steam integration, and he has been helping Joseph and me learn some Godot engine behind the scenes. In the evening when he was online, I sent the project over to him and asked him to take a look because I just couldn't figure out how to save the sound, which has to do with how the scripts are being loaded. When you moved one of the sound sliders up and down, the volume that you last left it in got saved. That was all working. When you closed the game, the volume was saved in the save file, but then when you open the game, the first thing the game does, all of the assets, it loads them kind of from the bottom. Then the sound player got loaded, and then the script that loaded the save file got loaded. So the sound player was ready before the save file data could be transferred to it. When your volume is, for example, at 4,
that 4 got loaded in way after the sound player was already ready and usable. I know I'm not explaining this very well. I would have been happy with having just the music volume saved. Grams actually figured out a way that the whole save system is now in that global file that gets loaded in the that is the first thing that gets loaded, which was the right call, and I also had the idea to do it. I just had no freaking idea how to do it. Yeah, now the sound gets saved, the music gets saved, and also the sound gets saved, which is super cool. And then basically yesterday I sat down and worked on a to-do list. The first iteration that I did not work out.
As you can see, we're back in the empty test project. My first attempt to make the to-do list was to have 3 text boxes that you could put text into and then just spawn a line if you click them again to get that crossed out effect. At first I really liked the idea and started implementing it into Virtual Cottage.
You could put in a task and then click on the task and that got crossed out. However, since I was using text labels, even if you crossed out something, it would still highlight the whole thing, and it didn't look good, and it just wasn't working properly. So I decided for a very, very simplified variant.
The to-do list that I implemented still works with the text labels and lets you enter 3 tasks. If you want to enter more, you'll have to delete tasks. And also, this little cursor stays in the cell that you last edited. You either have to click the tab key or click another button to make it go away. And this is just the way that text labels in Godot work, and I don't know how to change that. But because the to-do list is still in this rough state, I also make the decision to give the users the ability to hide the to-do list since it's not really implemented properly. Hopefully I can make it work in the next update.
So, I was supposed to do the build for itch today. Unfortunately, there's bugs. How do I test this? I don't know what I'm doing. We might have figured out why achievements aren't triggering. This is so dumb.
As some of you may have guessed, my dumb time
that counts down from 60 to 0
was the problem. And we have now tied the achievements successfully to your operating system clock, which lets you abuse the system. But fuck it, now it works.
Okay, so the update's been out since yesterday, and I just opened up Steam to check on the forums if people found any bugs, if everyth's alright. And this is something that, I don't know, before releasing a game I never considered. But like, I checked the comments and there's a lot of people just being happy, saying very useful updates, they love the new features, all of the positive stuff. And then I get to the second page and see the first comment, oh, if it's possible to import audio files and music. And this is something that in the beginning, I constantly mentioned this. I think I replied in my YouTube comments and on the Steam forums and on itch that I plan to add it, but I suck at programming, so I can't add it at the moment. I also haven't figured out a solution because I also don't want to give out the music files that the sound people gave me. I just don't want to put them in one folder and then have that folder accessible to everybody. So I just haven't found a good logical solution, and then I
I don't have the technical capacity to do that. I'm learning. It makes me happy every time that these people also want to improve Virtual Cottage, but I am still learning how to deal with this, because these people, they mean well, but I am getting tired of replying the same thing over and over. So from my perspective, I've answered this question like 100 times, but from this person's perspective, they're gonna be like, why isn't the developer of the game replying? Like, did I do something wrong, or are they just an asshole, or whatever? And just from me rambling, you can maybe see that I am thinking about this a lot. It's not pulling me down, fortunately, but like I constantly think about this stuff, and it creates this pressure in terms of, oh no, the game is not good enough yet. And I constantly have to tell myself, it's a free game. It's okay. It's the best that you can do right now. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show this, like the comment section for the newest update has been very, very positive. That's also one of the reasons why I wanted to make this devlog, to kind of because I know that my audience are also game developers, and to kind of show you that, yeah, these things will inevitably happen. And even if you finish your game and you polish it so much that it's smooth, like, I don't know, it's just never gonna be, like, people will always have different expectations for what your game should be, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think that's why it's also, I can only repeat myself there, and that's why I think it's so valuable to just make small games and release them, because I think the more you do that, the more stuff you put out there, yeah, then you can also learn these other skills, because you could be the best game developer on the planet, but then you can't handle being on the Steam forums, or just handle your game being played by other people. So yeah, I don't know, we never really talk about these soft skills and how you also have to build those up. Have a nice weekend, or end of the week, or whenever I'm gonna post this. Bye bye!